DJ X Tech here, Tampa Bay's Pulse Radio. I am sitting down right now. Interview 2 of 2 today for Friday. This a fine May 28th. Some good music coming out. We're sitting here with Super5Stoned. What's going on, my brother?
Man, blessed to be here. Thank you for having me. Super excited. And like I said, I cannot wait to have this conversation we're about to have. So thank you.
Oh, absolutely, man. I've been digging this because I've been vibing to your music, and I really can't wait to premiere that on the radio. But before we get into that, let's talk about this, man. I asked you what your motivation is for music, and you boiled it down to one word, which is family. Tell me about your family, brother.
Yes, family by far to me is the most important, because family's always been there for you, number one. Most of the time, they will tell you the truth instead of sugarcoating anything for you. And as an artist particularly, that's what I not only want but need, right? So my wife has supported me from the very start with this. And, starting from nothing, not having any studio, not having anything, started on a phone app, right? And it grew, and I bought a studio and decided to teach myself everything. And then we had our daughter Aubrey at 5. She's 5 years old. And then we have our other daughter Autumn, who is now going to be 1 on Sunday. So my daughters absolutely changed my life. Being a father was the best thing that ever happened to me. And what it did was it completely motivated me, because I look at them every single day and I tell myself I'm going to give them everything that I wish I could have. They will have it. And I'm going to do it through my music. I know now with the music that I do, which, we'll get into that, is it's not the normal music that you would have that's just classified in one genre,
Right.
And the biggest influence for that was my wife, and is my wife. She sits there and she goes, have you, tried this style of music incorporating this? She goes, your vocals could do this, you could do that, you could do this. And she's like, hey, take yourself out of your comfort zone. Because once you do that, it's no longer uncomfortable. You have now learned that, and now you've added this into your repertoire of being an artist. So family, without a doubt, for me is the biggest motivating factor, and is the most important thing for me to stay grounded as well.
Yeah, man, and positive feedback, I think, from anybody is important, but especially when you get positive feedback from your family, then that doubles it or triples the feeling that you have for it, because your style is pretty eclectic, but I don't mean eclectic obviously in a bad way, because listen, right. It's something that I haven't heard before, because when you look at the different eras and times of let's say mainstream hip hop, because I'm just going to classify you as kind of like hip hop electronic, right?
Right.
When you look at back in the 90s, you had Dre, Eminem, everybody, Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, everybody pretty much kind of had their own styling, right? It was different, right. to you would go from Snoop Dogg, then you would go to Dre, and it was a completely different show. It was a completely different act. It was a completely different brand, right? But Lil Wayne came out later on, and it seems like a lot of hip hop artists have tried to emulate his style from that point forward. So for the last, I'm going to say probably, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe even 10 years, right? It's right. all been kind of the same flow. So now you come around and you bring this mix of, once again, this electronic and this hip hop flavor in there. And I saw you holding the guitar also. So I'm assuming that you play guitar, yeah?
Yeah.
So the twanginess that I heard in the guitar, is that directly from you playing and recording yours, or?
That one is not. I actually had my Blector, who you had on earlier. Me and him have came together now, and I specifically work with him.
Right.
So he was the first guy, that found my sound, and I sent him the beat. And what's crazy is the beat that I sent him, and when he sends me my track back, he tells me, man, I don't know what you do to EQ your vocals, but they're perfect. Just leave it like that and let me do the rest. He sends me back, instead of a track, a complete song. And being able to have an engineer that does that, and as you know, he's a great guy, a really great person.
Oh yeah, fantastic human being,
awesome guy.
Yeah.
So to have him on my side with this, the music we've created already is completely different than anything both of us have, either one of us have done. And I told him, I said, hey man, people tell me all the time, they go, you don't sound like any particular artist. And that's exactly what I want. I don't want to be compared to, you sound like this guy, or you're like this. You're like, no, I'm like Super5Stoned. This is exactly who I am. This is my sound. It's original, it's unique, and it's real.
Right.
And, having him now, like you said, it transforms that whole, just from hip hop to, melodic transfers into that eclectic style of EDM, putting into it with electronics, and it's a whole different genre that is, I'm super excited to be a part of it,
Well, I'm super excited for you sharing your music, man, because once again, I think it's dope. So right now what we're going to do is we're just going to do a little transition. I want everybody just to get a little flavor of your music here. This one is called Drop It. We're going to play that one for you. Stick around. We'll be right back to the interview right after this one.
Let's go. All I do is my motto. Ay, all gas, full throttle. Ay, making money on auto. Ay, got a fine Spanish motto. Yeah. Baby, keep it dropping. See them hits that are rocking. Baby, keep it dropping. Oh, we don't stop it. Yeah. All I do is my motto. Ay, all gas, full throttle. Ay, making money on auto. Ay, got a fine Spanish model. Pop bottles, ain't a full gas, full throttle. Got a bad Spanish bitch bottle. Now you know, making money auto. Hey, back it up slow. Baby, go ahead, put your head down low. Let me feel your thighs. Ooh, we on mine. Baby, when you hit it, blow my mind. Yeah, baby, drop it. Now your shit is so shocking. Hey, let me get a taste. Spit open, baby, get out the way. Nah, I'ma pop this bottle. All gas, full throttle. Making money all day, that's my motto. Yeah, all day, all auto. Yeah, all I do is my motto. Ay, all gas, full throttle. Ay, making money on auto. Ay, got a fine Spanish model. Yeah, baby, keep it dropping. See them hits that are rocking. Baby, keep it dropping. Oh, we don't stop it.
I'ma go ahead and smoke one. They calling me Smoke the One. All I do is smoke on the skunk. Propane on me, I'ma go. Yeah, I'm sitting back in the VIP. All I wanna do is get some drinks. All I wanna do is light up swishers. Swisher squeeze on a young nigga. I don't do none of that backwoods. All I know is sit in the fucking hood. But these women all on the nigga. Yeah, we in the club, yeah, see the vision. Eat like a motherfucker, no hunger. Hunger game, yeah, y'all starving. I just want the money in the profit. Yeah, we just stay fucking ballin'.
All I do is my bottle. Ay, all gas, full throttle. Ay, making money on auto. Ay, got a fine Spanish model. Yeah, baby, keep it dropping. See them hits that are rocking. Baby, keep it dropping. Oh, we don't stop it.
That was Drop It by my man Super5Stoned, I should say. See, I'm bad with names like the last 2 or 3 weeks, but it's just a lot going on, as you know, with trying to format this. And back to your point on originality, I know that was one of the questions that I asked you, in the interview, is who you would like to, possibly emulate if you could. And you said absolutely nobody. I want to be myself, and that's it. And I mean, I think that you're doing a great job of that so far. And so just to touch base on this, give me a little bit of insight on what was your inspiration for Tears of Pain?
Man, I honestly, the inspiration for that is just daily life. Going through what people go through in a daily life, what I go through in a daily life. Instead of talking about, in my music, I don't talk about gangbanging. I don't talk about doing drugs. I don't talk about cheating on your wife or your woman. I don't do any of that. I talk about things that you will experience in life. People have highs and we have lows, right? So in a lot of my music, you will hear about the lows that I have, but at the end of the track, if you listen through it, you will see the progression into the positive of it. So my music is all about leaving a positive impact on you, to the specifically people that feel there is no hope, that feel that they are lost, nobody cares. Me as an artist specifically, I care about those people. I care about you. Because I've been in that spot. I've been in that situation. So the best way for me to be able to communicate it is and still will be music. Because I'm able to put out the most rawest form of myself without judgment, right? That's why I love music, because when I'm in the studio and it's just me and my thoughts, there's nothing else. There's nobody there. It's me, the beat, myself. So I literally tell people all the time, I don't want you to hear me. I want you to feel me. Because when you feel me, you're going to want to hear it again. You're going to want to hear it again.
Absolutely, man. Positive vibes going out there, obviously, so, and just to touch on your point there, we need to, transition into, treating each other like human beings again. I know that, the last couple of years were rough for everybody, and there's been a lot going on, a lot of disagreements, but, hey, at the end of the day, we're all humans, man. We're all just trying to live our own lives, right? So as far as studio time goes, man, what I'm picking up from you, man, is the studio is church, man.
Yes, it's beyond my therapy. I can have somebody literally sit down with me that I could be extremely close with and go, hey, what's going on with you? And I would literally tell them I'm okay, right? When in all reality, on the inside, it's like, okay, I really want to say this, I want to say this and say that. But for me, being able to open up like that hasn't always been easy for me to do. But when it comes to being in the studio, being able to just put my thoughts out, it's the easiest thing for me, because it doesn't matter what mood I'm in. I could be happy, I could be sad, I could be ecstatic. It does not matter. That energy will come through it. That's the thing about music that I have found and that's hooked me, is when you feel that energy, and it's just, you can feel it on the track. It's hard to put it into words. It's a phenomenal feeling. And for me, it's my release, because then that problem, that thought, whatever I have on my mind, whatever was bothering me is no longer there. It's gone. It is off my back. And the only thing that has done that for me has been music.
Yeah, man. Music's definitely therapeutic, definitely 100%. And I love it because that on my show it's a very eclectic mix, because I want to make sure that everybody has a little bit of a chance to get heard. And like I said, it even transcends all kinds of boundaries, language boundaries, especially because I'm pretty sure that you heard Rule MC on there. Maybe you've seen him on Slaps also, but he has a song Quieneras too. And that one is a song where, like I said, you just can't help but vibe into it. But to your point with studio and the release, that you get from that, I got to think that was a little bit of your motivation behind your song "Blessed." Yeah.
Yes, without a doubt. It's it's kind of crazy, because I get asked this question: what motivates you all the time when you come up with music? Especially like one of the questions that I was asking you. How much, when are you going to release new music? Are you in the studio a lot? And honestly, I'm in the studio 5 days a week. And because I have the program here, I'm able to do it myself. And now having an engineer be able to do this, and particularly that song Blessed by Bletro, that was the first track that he did for me. That was my new single. That wasn't on his EP. That was one. And he completely transformed the entire beat in Blessed. And then in the second song, Tears of Pain, all those drum kicks that you hear in Tears of Pain, that's him drumming. He actually incorporated all the drums himself and re-kicked them. Guy's phenomenal.
Yeah, man, he's super talented.
Yeah. So with Blessed, that track with Blessed, I wanted people to understand that no matter what you go through, no matter what it is that's happening with you in this point of life, we all have blessings in front of us. And for us, it's up to open our eyes and see it, right? Because a lot of the times we're so busy with everything going on with us that a lot of things are just passing right in front of us. And for me, that was my thing. I had to slow myself down. And when I did, it was like, man, look at all the blessings I really have, for my wife and my children too. And people, I consider myself rich off that, man, because I have a wife that loves me one way, and then I have children that love me two different ways, right? So I have two different types of love I get to experience daily. That to me is priceless, man.
Absolutely.
Can't do anything to buy that.
No, you cannot. Yeah, definitely a different feeling once kids are involved with everything, so yeah, let me, because you said that you pretty much went into music full time. I think you said 4 years ago.
Yes.
Is that what it was?
4 years ago.
So what led you to that kind of transition where you were kind of where you were maybe like on the brink of it, and then you just like kind of like that switch flipped for you, and you were like, yeah, I got to do this because this is just me. It's just I have to.
Right. I would say the main defining thing, there was two things. The first one was working the job I was working at the time. I had gotten arrested back in the day for a joint in Texas, right? Joint, that was it. But in Texas, that's not good. So it has been on my record, and this thing followed me around, right? So I couldn't never get a great job that I liked. And I was at the point where I was like, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing.
Right.
Like, this doesn't make me happy. This isn't filling. This isn't doing anything. And the biggest thing besides that, though, I think was the fear of what people would think, right? Judgment, like, oh man, I don't want to embarrass myself, or am I really supposed to do this? And it just one day it clicked. I had my best friend Blake sat down with me and he listened to me. He's like, why are you not doing music for a living, man? He goes, what are you doing? And I don't know what it was, but it clicked in my head that day. I said, you know what? I don't know. You got a point. And from that day forward, I started. And like I said, I started this off of an app on a phone called BandLab. Right. And those songs, the quality is terrible. Okay. Terrible quality. But at that moment when I put those out, I was super, super proud of that, because that proved to myself that I can do this. And people ask me on my SoundCloud, I still have one of the songs up that quality's terrible. And they go, why do you keep that up? It reminds me where I started. Right. It reminds me to stay grounded. It reminds me that when people let me listen to their music, they might be starting off in that same spot I was in. Right. So if it needs criticism, give them a positive one. Don't sit there and go, hey, man, your music's trash. Nobody wants to hear that. Like, imagine if that's your first time giving somebody your music, right? And you're like, man, I'm really nervous about it. I don't know how this is going to go. And then they give you that response. Like, it's going to do one of two things. It's either going to make you quit, right? Or for me, because it happened to me before, it motivated me completely, man. Because I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to prove you wrong. Tell me I can't do it. It's like, watch me,
That's unfortunately that's the way it is a lot of times, because some people just have hate inside them naturally, and I think that personally, seriously, man, as far as being musicians, we have a common bond, right? Like, I know that I'm vibing with you right now the same way that I was vibing with Vibe Electro the first time, when I was interviewing him. It's just I can tell you're a great guy. I can tell, you have positive things to say about everything, and you look at the positive side of everything. So that's definitely, I think that, like, once again, sharing that common bond, being musicians, then why would you stop there and say, like, dude, your music is trash, when you're doing the same thing? You're trying to release an album as well, or a cut or something, So why wouldn't you just say, hey, I like the beat. Your vocals could use a little bit of improvement if you mix them into the song, right? So that's at least some advice that you're giving somebody that'll get them thinking, like, you know what, I'll give that a try, right? So that way when you release it again, then, it might sound better, right? At least
I gotta think that. For example, you saying that, that's when Vibe Electro, when I sent him the song Whispers that's coming out on his new EP dropping, the first thing he told me was, and he didn't tell me he was a professional sound engineer, that he was certified, that he did all these things, right? He just simply asked me, he goes, hey man, I like your vocal mix. He's like, but do you mind sending me the track outs? And at the time, I didn't know what track out meant, because I didn't know the verbiage, right? I was like, stems, I know what stems are, I know how to do this, but I didn't know the correct way to do things. I didn't know what bleeding in the vocals meant. I didn't know what these certain terms were, right? And I told him, sure, I'll definitely send you this stuff. And he sent me back, he's like, hey, here's 4 things. Can you try and do this, and this? And instead of, most people get offended by it, my first thing is, if you give me something that you think, let's try it. Let's try this and utilize it. If it works, outstanding. Because this was something we had not done. This just made it better. If it doesn't work, we can take something out of that and incorporate something else. Either way, it's going to improve. Right. So, and he messaged me back, man. He's like, oh my God, I can't believe you didn't get upset. You weren't like, oh no, it's perfect. I'm like, no, it's not. It's a team effort. I'm not a professional engineer. I'm not going to act like I am. I'm not going to act like I know how to do it professionally when I have somebody that does, specifically somebody that shares knowledge with you. what better tool do you have than that? You have somebody that literally is right there showing, hey man, this is what you need to do. This is how you do it. Boom, 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 boom. And it's transitioned into, we have a great friendship now, not just a partnership with music. It's transitioned to a great friendship, you know? So having, you know, somebody like that, like I said, being able to engineer correctly, huge difference, man. And that was with Whispers. It came down, the basis of it was trust. That's what it was. Just trust, man. Trust what he says and build it from that. Because if he leads me the wrong way, at least I know from the beginning, okay, I don't need to deal with this. But from the very start, it's been upfront and honest, and the music coming out I am so excited for this stuff to come out. Well, it's going to be amazing.
I'm excited for the both of you. And he, when we finished the interview, he did touch on that a little bit. You know, he said that you guys had actually become pretty good friends, and that you don't just chat about music, you chat about family life and the goings on and everything like that. So, hey man, good on you guys for keeping in touch like that. And once again, it's I think Slaps. Slaps is a really good resource site when you're looking for somebody to collaborate with and advice.
Definitely.
One thing that we touched on was Fiverr also, right? Because we were talking about the difference between like buying streams, which right now, flat out point blank, I do not recommend that to anybody. It's a great way to get your song banned off Spotify if you get the wrong person, and trust me, you're not gaining any real fans there whatsoever. But how do you feel, since Vibe Electro and I had talked about this, how do you feel about like getting a review written about your music, or like a blog post from a musician, like somebody that like actually listens to it and gives you that feedback on your song?
As long as they gave their honest opinion on it, like I don't ever want to buy somebody just writing something good about it.
Right.
That doesn't sit right with me. It's not genuine. And for any artist, I hope they hear this. Anything that's not genuine, your fans will pick up on. Yeah. They will pick up on it, and you will lose your fan base, because they don't want people that are fake hiding behind this veil that is social media. That's what a lot of these people do. They like to sit here and be somebody they're not, right? So when you are an artist that's actually genuine to yourself, you are who you say you are, you show that daily, then what would you be looking like, right? Like going and buying these things. However, if you have somebody that actually listens to the music and they aren't a fan yet, right? They're unbiased opinion. That's what you want. You want somebody that's not going to have a bias towards you. And they give you an actual comment and feedback. They actually do a write-up on you, and you're like, you know what? That will benefit both of us.
Yeah,
that doesn't only benefit me, that benefits them as well. Then I definitely recommend that. But like you said, buying streams, don't do that.
No,
don't do that.
Keep far away from it.
Fans. Yeah, it's and you know what's sad is there's so many that I have Spotify placement for you, where I can sit here and you pay this amount of money, blah blah blah, blah, and it's all a scam. It's all a scam. So guys, remember that, artists, it's a scam.
Absolutely. Don't do it. Every single one that I have tried. Once again, I almost got my account banned completely. Right. So every single one that I've tried, let's say. And I try to put this out there for the people that are looking for concrete advice, right? Like they're just getting started out, and it's one of those things, because I got to think that would obviously kind of like deflate you a little bit also, as far as your self-esteem is concerned, because okay, like you pay the $30 or $50 to get like the 3, 4, 5,000 streams or whatever you're going to get, right? But now when the month passes and your song is no longer being botted up and everything like that, so you go from 15,000 monthly listeners back down to 15, 20, 22, whatever the case may be, right? So I gotta think that really deflates your self-esteem. It's because maybe somebody's thinking oh damn man, all these people listen to my song this time and they really don't like it. That's not the case. Trust me, it's not the case. It's because there's a robot listening to your song. That's exactly what's happening, man.
And it's good that you say that, because a lot of artists beginning, say they do that, and that's the first time, they don't know, man.
Yeah.
They really don't know. And all of a sudden they see that, and it will do one or two things. Either it's going to deflate you completely, and you're just going to be like, I don't know why I'm doing this, right?
Yeah.
Or it's going to sit there and you're going to look into it and be like, okay, something's not right about this. But as an upcoming artist, if you don't have a circle around you of people that have either been through this themselves, or you don't know what to look for, you're set up to fail.
Yeah.
Like literally, that's what it is. You are set up to fail because labels. The beautiful thing about what time we're in now is the big labels are no longer running everything. They're not. Independent artists have just as much a chance to get big, to be able to, make money off of your music, to make it as a living. Not saying get rich and do all that stuff. For me personally, I don't care for that. I don't care for fame. I don't care to be rich. I just care to be able to make money off my music that will take care of my family. So if we want to take a vacation, we can, right?
Yeah.
And then give back. That's what I want to do. Any money that I get that's left, I want to be able to give back
Absolutely.
into the community.
Talk to me about some future plans. What is next for Super5Stoned?
The plans, definitely future plans, are me and my budget are going to pretty much change a lot of things in the music. I really think. I think specifically, I haven't heard really any other bands or any other artists doing the sound that we have coming out. I have not heard it. And that's what I've been looking for 4 years, right? Finding that original sound, like what makes me different? What makes me different? Because like you said, you had so many people start emulating Lil Wayne, right? And then specifically in hip hop, what it transitioned to is Gucci, with trap coming out, the mumble rap coming out, and to your Lil Yachty's and all this stuff, but Future, stuff like that. And I was like, man, I can't, I'm not going to do that because one, that's not me. Two, that style's been getting repetitively used, and now it's transitioned into like the baby, that type of drill, the drill type scene that's going. And don't get me, I love the drill music. I think the beats are incredible. Not necessarily what they're talking about in their music. I'm not into any of that, because like music can be one of two things. It can be something really lovely, right? Or it can be something that can be deadly. And I choose not to have the deadly part, right? So, but the plans for this year is we're going to be releasing, we have 4 singles that are going to be dropping in the next 2 to 3 months. Put a lot of promo behind this. And also, I want, now that everything's opening up from COVID again, everything's finally opening back up. Live shows are coming back. That is the payoff from me as an artist, is live shows. I absolutely love to perform live. Feeding off the energy of the crowd. There's nothing it's better than any drug, any woman, any money.
Yep.
Is that feeling. It's just, and you as a musician, you know it's that you can't replicate it, man. Like,
no, you can't.
And when people are vibing, when you hear your music sang back for the first time to you, that's what I chase.
Yeah, man.
That feeling right there every time, man.
Because I'll just give a little bit of background. My defining moment for when I knew that I wanted to create music. I was a DJ and I had this residency at a club, and it was my first night starting there. And so I got my playlist together. I knew exactly like how I wanted to format everything. And Benny Benassi was big back then, because this is like circa, like, let's say like maybe about 2002, 2003. So they had their hit song Satisfaction, right? And so I'm up in the DJ booth and I'm mixing and everybody's kind of like vibing and everything like that. The party's like just getting started off. But then I threw Satisfaction into the mix, with that little LFO like up tune that they have, where it just kind of like, and then the beat drops on you. And like everybody, man, just flooded the dance floor. Just like, I mean, anybody that was sitting down just hopped up on the dance floor. And I was just like, I need to try making music like this, right? So I gotta try this out. So that's when I started working on the on the first cut and everything like that. So but yeah, like what you're talking about, you can have positive music and you could have very detrimental music, and unfortunately people that do the detrimental music, it's a damn shame that they do so, because especially people that especially people that are famous, like they have an influence. Like, why do you spread hate? Like, why are you doing something that's completely negative? You could be spreading a positive message for everybody, right. like why are you going through with that?
And it's the key word that you said, is influence, right? Yeah. And I tell artists this all the time, man. I say, it doesn't matter if you have one person that follows you or if you have 1 million people that follow you. If you have influence over somebody, they look up to you, right? That's what they look up to you. So me, just as a person, I can take away the artist label just off the bat, right? As a person, morally, do I want to leave a lasting impression that's positive, that advances people in a direction, right? Or do I want to sit here and tell people, hey, man, go cheat on your wife or your girlfriend, right? Go pop pills, go drink lean, go do all that. No, I don't want any of that, you know, because like, firstly, I have 2 daughters. I don't ever want them seeing their father sitting there saying, hey, go cheat on, he's cheating on mom. Are you kidding me? Like, that's not just to make some money, just to put influence on something like that. That's not okay for me. So, and the thing is, people tell you, they'll be like, hey man, you're going like the hard route then, you know, because there's so many people that talk about this, that I'm like, well, I'm not them. I'm myself. I don't care if it takes me 20 times longer. It doesn't matter, you know, because like I told you before too, I do music for myself, and it sounds selfish, but I do it for me because it's my release of it. So if I'm sitting here putting just negative, my life, not only just going on in normal day-to-day things, it's all going to start becoming negative. You start becoming an environment of what you're saying, of what you're doing, who you're around. And I mean, I've been through that. So for me, I was like, I don't need this. I'm not. But as an artist musically, I've never sat there and not been authentic to myself. Like, that's been key. Be you. Like, what are you afraid of?
Right.
Somebody not going to like it? Oh, well, not everybody likes the same things, right? Not everybody likes the same tastes. But what I've coming into, you know, the new music that I have with my Electro, that's what I told him the other day, man. I said, you know, we have a little bit of everything in this. We said, I got blues, you got soul, you have rock,
right,
you have rap, you have EDM, right? So it's like, say somebody doesn't even want to hear vocals or lyrics. The beat that you made alone can have people hooked.
Right.
I said, now we've hit 5 different spectrums, man. 5 different spectrums. That's a wide variety of music. So if somebody goes, oh, I don't really like rap, well, listen to this. I don't really like blues or soul, well, listen to this part.
Right.
You know, it's a transition of everything. And that's in the music. That's I wanted to be able to influence people also to go step out of the box. Don't be afraid to do what you want to do, right?
Yeah.
And what this leads into, man, what's crazy is I've had people watch my journey over the past 3 years, right, on social media. And I'm only on Instagram. I don't do Facebook. I don't do any of the other stuff.
Oh, good, because I was just going to ask you about that, because I know that you have a pretty big presence on Instagram. I see you posting on there a lot, but yeah.
Yeah, Instagram was the one because I'm able to do videos to people that have never seen me, that have never got to know me. So, but what's came down to that is I've had people that have literally messaged me, right? This is about a year ago. And also this was more of a defining moment for me too, is I had quite a few people, particularly one guy was like, hey man, I just want to let you know, I've been watching you for the past 2 years, your positivity, you talk about family, you talk about God, you talk about, you know, your music. And he goes, I just want to let you know, I went back to school. I got my degree in music production. I'm now working in this and doing this. And he's like, because you inspired me to go back.
That's awesome, man.
I have goosebumps saying that right now, right? And I was like, I get it. This is what I'm supposed to do. My music's a platform where I'm able to reach out and actually tell people that don't think that they have a purpose, that don't think that they have a path, that are lost. You do. You have a purpose. You have a plan. Your gift, you know what it is. Don't be afraid of it.
Absolutely, man.
And run with it, man.
Well, I got to say, man, that's got to be a big morale booster for you. Also, is just because you know that you know, at least if nothing else, you've left that legacy behind right there, right? Because that kid is now out making something of himself. You know,
I think that means more to me than the music. Honestly, it's being able to positively impact somebody for a lifetime. That's a feeling, man. Like, and that's what it's done. My music has been able to provide that for me. So I. Like defining moments, that was the big one. That was the other one. Was like, wow, I get it. It's like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do, and just, you know, and you being a musician as well. Don't get me wrong. There's days, man, where it's like, this is tough.
Yeah,
like this is tough. Or you had shows lined up that were paid that fall through. Things happen, right? And it's just like, remain positive though. And that's what I try. I try and take a positive out of every situation, right? It doesn't matter if it's a bad one or not. There's always a positive in there somewhere. And that's what I try and go with. And it's been able to transition that lifestyle of how I live, how I look at things in life into my music now. So, yeah, man, this year, super excited for this year. It's the first year I fully feel this came full circle is this year. From the 4 years of just working, trying to find your sound to, you know, having people scam me. I had been signed before. I had a full management team that had Sony distribution, right, for a year. And I realized this is not for me, you know, because they tell you one thing, but then all of a sudden they're not going to do it. and you're stuck. Like, what are you going to do? You're under contract. You can't go do anything. You can't speak out. So it came down 2 years ago. I went independent. The best thing I've ever done, was staying independent. I own my music.
Yeah.
Artists, if you're listening, very important. Own your music.
Absolutely.
Don't get rid of your masters, man. Own your music. Own your music.
It's just that effect, because that's the thing is everybody's chasing the dream, everybody's chasing the record deal, but they don't realize, exactly how detrimental it can be. So you're absolutely right. Once again, being true to yourself and keeping your rights to your music, because I got pretty much fucked the same way that you did. Like 3 months after I released my first CD, I had a record contract in front of me and I lost the rights to all my stuff for 5 years, man. And then to top it off, like I couldn't put anything else out because that was going to go directly towards the record company. But then I hear one of my songs on TV. Like I'm watching TV and I hear one of my songs on there, and there's no recognition or whatsoever that this is DJ X Tech, this is his song. No recognition like that. And it's just man. It is like, sickening. That would
piss me off so much because it's like I did the work.
Right.
I did the work, and you don't even have the audacity to credit me.
Right.
Not even the audacity just to credit me, man. Like you couldn't even just put my name on there, let alone pay me. But you couldn't even put my name on this. It's like rubbing salt in a wound, man. It's just like, we don't care because what are you gonna do? You signed the contract. That's exactly what they told me. They're like, what are you gonna do? You signed the contract. I'm like, well, you didn't hear that.
You're stuck with it, and I don't know if a lot of people know this or not, but that's exactly what happened with Prince as well. Prince was signed with Sony, and he finally got fed up, and they're like, well, what are you going to do? You can't leave. We own the name Prince, right? So that's when he changed his name to the symbol later on, right? Because he just the artist formerly known as Prince, right?
Didn't he own his masters on him during a live performance as well? I think he had wrote on his face, like, own your masters. Like he talked about, or it was Michael Jackson, one of those two, but I know both of them talked about owning your masters because they both were getting screwed completely. Completely.
I've seen exactly what you're talking about. I don't know which artist it is. I am going to do some research on it, and I'm going to figure that out. But you're absolutely right. That's a great point that you make. Is own your music, own your music, own your music. Keep it, man. The independent road it's a struggle, obviously, because we're all working with limited funding, limited audience. We're all trying to do the same thing here. That's why even at the beginning of the shows, I used to tell people, hey, listen, stay tuned for the whole thing. You never know what you're going to hear that you might like, and you're just helping support other people that are in the same shoes as you as well, right? So let's do that. Let's network together. Let's be cool to one another.
That is key. Network and treat each other with respect, man.
Yes.
Because everybody, like I said, everybody starts in one area. We all start off the same spot, right? But in order for independent artists to be able to level the playing field, networking is your biggest tool. It doesn't cost anything. It doesn't. Have a face-to-face conversation over video call with somebody. Get to know them, right? Establish a relationship. That's the other thing I tell people. Establish a relationship. Just don't look at a producer or an engineer as, that's my business guy. That's it, right? Establish a relationship, because when you build this rapport with them, one, they're going to work with you even harder than they would anybody else, because they're like, man, this guy really does care. Not just as me as a producer and engineer, but as a person. He actually cares about me. And it's like, yeah, man, I do care about you. Like, if I spend my time investing my time and my music into you, I need to care about the person I'm giving it into. So that's why I talk to everybody. I have conversations, man. And, last thing about social media, he said, that I told you, social media is one of two things, right? I think it's way oversaturated with all the stuff that's going on. I think a lot of people act like people they're not behind the camera a lot of the times. I do think, though, for artists, I do think for big brands, I think social media is essential in certain ways. I think it's a very fine line, specifically if you're a family man like me and you. Like in the beginning, my wife told me the same thing. You're spending way too much time. You're not spending family time. You're not doing it. And she was right. So I had to sit there and, I had to like, okay, I need to take this time and do this. Family comes first. Then I'm going to sit in here. I'm going to do that stuff. It was a fine line that I've had to learn, and social media is a crazy thing, man. 'Cause think about it. Like, it didn't used to be like this in the late 90s. When I was 14, 15, first started music, right? You'd go around with the trunk of the car, or you'd sit there and sell CDs. Right, yeah. $5, man. Here's a mixtape, $5, right? That's what happened. Now, I tell these new artists coming out, I'm like, man, you guys got it easy. You really have every tool at your fingertips. It's all online. Everything is there for you as an artist to succeed. It's up to you, though, to get the knowledge and learn it.
To utilize it, right.
Right. You can lead a horse to water, man. It doesn't mean he's going to drink it.
Absolutely.
So,
it's just going back to that fact. We talked about this, on the interview. It is that the fact that social media is way, way, way oversaturated. But the thing is if you do a little bit of your research and you do know how to utilize it, and you know who to follow, you know who not to follow, you know what to pay attention to, you know what not to pay attention to, then you're gonna do all right. Because right now, what I'm feeling from Slaps is the same thing that I was feeling from MySpace. Like MySpace, I think was just awesome in the fact that, you could just send a, hey, what's up, man, to anybody on there. And, you might be heading out for a beer later on that night. You know what I mean?
Right.
And just like,
and what's cool about MySpace that they haven't done anymore is MySpace, say I sent you a song of mine, right? You would be able to put that up on your profile.
Right.
It could be on your thing playing.
Right.
That was revolutionary. Nobody was doing that.
No, that was a very cool feature.
Mind blowing, man. And now it's like they went away from it.
Well, I don't know, but that's what I'm feeling from Slaps. The same kind of love that I was getting from musicians, back then, and just people that I was networking. That's kind of like how I feel about Slaps, because I'll tell you what, if it wasn't for Slaps, honestly, this radio show wouldn't exist. Because the traditional marketing I mean. Once you say you could lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, right? Like, you could put up a Google ad and you can invest $1,000 into it, if you want to. But the whole thing is that if you're not a marketing guru, if you don't have that right kind of niche, it's not going to do anything for you. But I was networking with the right people, and I think Vibe Electro was actually one of like probably the first 10 people that I got into contact with. I had his music like early on, and we vibed and everything like that, and it kind of went from there, and more artists, and everybody hopped on, and and everybody's been cool because they really. Because once again, being true to everybody is essential also, right? I'm holding up what I said that I would do. I even added a little more onto it, with these video interviews now and everything like that. But once again, I'm all about the music, and I'm all about trying to get the word out there and everything like that. So network is my thing. And the second thing is obviously just, hey, man, be cool to one another, man, be a human being, right?
Right. Exactly. Understand that people go through things just like you do.
Absolutely.
That's the main thing. I see people all the time wrapped up in self. And it's like, man, the world doesn't revolve around, right?
No, absolutely.
And it's like, I tell people all the time, I try to do something for somebody other than myself daily, right? Because then I'm giving back. I'm helping somebody. It could be the smallest thing from holding the door open for somebody, right? Which is a very small action that I've done, which might not mean much to me, right? But say that person I just held this door open for, they're like, just give me a sign somebody cares today, please.
Yeah.
And you did that, and you look at them and say, I hope you have a great day.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That little small action you just took for them could have just been massive. So that's what I try to do every day, is I try and do that just so I can sit there and just be a good person, man. I firmly believe what you put out will come back to you. Right, so good karma is. I try to keep it a must.
Good karma is essential, man. I'm telling you, and you're absolutely right about that.
How hard is it to be nice, man?
No, it's not. That's the whole thing. Is it takes more effort to be a fucking mean person than it takes to be nice. It's just like, hey, man, just be yourself. Like that's a point that I make to a lot of people. It's like, listen, man, everybody argues. Everybody has bills to pay. Everybody needs to wake up and go to work. Everybody needs to do this. We're all in the same boat, man. Seriously, like just calm down. You know what I'm saying? And you are absolutely right that doing the smallest thing for one person, like maybe they're just having a really crap day, and just that one small thing is going to just turn their life around for that day, and they'll be happy, and at least you put somebody else in a positive mood, right?
Exactly.
So that's what we're all about, man. We're spreading positive vibes. We're doing promotions for musicians that truly deserve all this stuff, man. Super5Stoned, I want to thank you for talking with us today. Any special shout outs you want going out to anybody?
Most definitely, man. At first, I want to tell you thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it more than anything, because an independent artist, be sure you get in contact with him. You got great music ready to get broke, wanted to be put out, have somebody actually cares about your music, an independent artist, make sure you hit him up. Secondly, my brother Vibe Electro, thank you for putting me on. Thank you for sitting here and putting me in contact with DJ X-Tech, most definitely. And thirdly, I have two more. Euphoria Disc Golf, this guy right here is my apparel guy, has some of the best clothing, does any designs you want, super talented guy. And lastly, to my beautiful, amazing wife, Sarah, thank you for always supporting me. I love you more than anything, to the moon and back. So thank you for having me, brother. I greatly appreciate it.
Hold on, I'm just writing down the Euphoria Golf Club. I'm gonna go check that out, man. Get some swag going for the radio show, right?
Yeah,
hey, man.
Definitely, most definitely.
But once again, man, I want to thank you again for being on the show, and I'll send a shout out to Vibe Electro also, and to all the independent musicians that have been out there that have really been throwing their support at the show. I'm sure that you've seen a lot of stuff on Instagram, people doing like little dances and videos and everything, like really appreciating this. I really appreciate everybody getting the word out about it, and hopefully we can make this something that'll help out a lot of people, and I'm sure you and I will be in touch with the future. But for now, man, I just want nothing but blessings your way, man, and best of luck to you. And yeah, man, I think we'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Outstanding, man. Thank
All right,
you, brother.
man. You have a fantastic Friday. Have a good weekend. Tell your family I said hello.